Hey there, fellow bakers. Are you ready to start using whole wheat flour in your baked goods? But maybe you're a little bit nervous, maybe you've never tried it before, or maybe you just have had some really bad results. They're too dry, they're flavorless, they have that sandy texture, all the things. Well, I am Amy from aside Spatula, and I am here to help you be successful in using whole wheat flour in your baked goods. I'm going to share some of the tips and tricks that I've learned over the years of using all kinds of different whole wheat flours. And I am going to show you while we are making these delicious bakery style raspberry almond muffins. So let's go ahead and get started, and you are going to be knocking these muffins out of the park before you know it. Okay, so the first tip that I'm going to share with you is that I love to use whole wheat pastry flour for these muffins. I use pastry flour, whole wheat pastry flour all the time in my muffins, cookies, and cakes where I want that really tender crumb. It is a lower protein flour. It's very similar to a cake flour or an all-purpose flour, and it works perfectly in these muffins. The second tip that I'm going to share with you is that it's okay to use a blend of whole wheat flour and all-purpose flour. I use it all the time in my baked goods. In fact, it's what my family and friends prefer. Let me just alleviate the guilt that you might have if you're thinking that you have to use 100% whole wheat flour all the time. You don't have to. Any progress is good progress. So even incorporating half, like what we're going to use in this recipe, is better than none at all. Okay, so those are the first two tips, and then I'm going to add the other ones as I show you how to make these muffins. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos coming out. Okay, so we went over the basics. Now, what you need to do is make sure that your oven is preheated. These muffins have got to go into a very hot oven. That gives it the oven spring and that bakery style muffin. And then here I am, I'm mixing together my whole wheat pastry flour, the all-purpose flour, and then I set that mixture aside, my leavener and salt too. I set that mixture aside, and then I'm going to start on my wet ingredients. I always love to use a blend of oil and butter in my muffins especially. The oil because I think it really hydrates whole grain baked goods. The butter, of course, is added for flavor. Next in, I add the eggs. Now, some recipes call for these to be mixed separately and then you put them in, but with the oil and butter, I like to just do it and save a bowl. So put them all in together, mix it really well, that way we don't wind up with all scrambled eggs in there. And then we're gonna add in the milk. Now, everything that I do, if you've noted, is to add moisture and hydration to these whole wheat muffins. Same thing with this, I added in some Greek yogurt. You can also add in sour cream if you prefer, but I think that both of those hydrate the muffins really well. Once this is done, we're gonna mix together our wet and dry ingredients. And I didn't fast forward this or show it in clips or anything like this because I want you to see what this looks like start to finish when I mix in my dry ingredients with my wet. You don't want to over mix it, of course, because that's going to give you tough muffins. We want everything to be tender with these. And I also wanted to show my method too. So what I'll do is I'll mix in the middle a few different times, and then I scrape around the outside every time, a couple in the middle and then the outside. What you can't see obviously is this rubber spatula scraping the bottom of the bowl as well. Now I'm getting very close here. You can see that almost all of it's incorporated, but I don't want to overdo it. So here we are, and it's done. Then last in, we add in our sliced almonds and the raspberries. You can also do chopped almonds if you prefer it. And these raspberries are very tender, obviously, so we're going to want to be as gentle as we can. That's why we keep using this rubber spatula to mix them in. And I kind of use the same concept here. I'm mixing around the outside and then take a few turns on the inside. This just ensures that the raspberries are incorporated all the way through. Again, not overdoing it because we don't want to break up those raspberries too much. Then once the batter's done, we are going to put it into our pan, and I sprayed mine with pan spray. You can also use softened butter or melted butter and put it in. Now, one other thing is that you're going to want to fill your muffin tins all the way up. Some people say 2/3 of the way has kind of been the standard, but I like to fill it up all the way. And then once it's filled, I add more almonds to mine. This is a personal preference. You don't have to do this, but I love it. They go into the oven, and then we want to be really careful that we don't over bake the muffins. We've worked really hard to ensure that they're hydrated. If we over bake them, they're just gonna dry out. So here's the finished muffin. They are so easy to make. Your friends and family are gonna love these, so I would love to hear your success stories. Please let me know.